Very good evening. Welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ashwarya with you. Let us start the news bulletin with the headlines. The winter session of Parliament concludes. Many significant legislations passed, including the Citizenship Amendment Bill, the SPG Amendment Bill and the Constitution 126th Amendment Bill. Ordinances on e-cigarette ban and corporate tax cuts made laws. The 250th session sees the Rajya Sabha passing 15 bills and achieving 100% productivity over 20 sittings. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu appreciates cooperation of all members in making it a memorable session. Lok Sabha approves many important bills in winter session. With 115% productivity, lower households discussions on many topics of public interest, including economy, environment and water conservation. Economic measures to speed up growth showing positive results, says Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Chief Economic Advisor Krishnamurthy Subramanian asserts that India is firmly on course to becoming a $5 trillion economy. And India and Maldives signed 3 important agreements, including one on sharing financial intelligence. 6th meeting of the Joint Commission concludes in New Delhi. Discussion focuses on a neighborhood first of India and India first policy of Maldives. Maldivian Speaker Mohammad Nasheed calls on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. First up, all the news on the winter session of Parliament, and productivity was a major issue this session, especially for the Rajya Sabha. Since the last session recorded productivity of 104% by availing more than the available time for transacting the business, maintaining the positive momentum was a big focus area for the upper house. It finally managed to set close to 100% productivity for the 2 sessions in a row. Here are all the details.
Meaningful debates were witnessed in the upper house on a wide gamut of issues in the winter session of Parliament. Over 20 sittings and against a total scheduled available time of 108 hours 33 minutes, the House functioned for 107 hours 11 minutes, resulting in a productivity of 99%. A total of 11 hours 47 minutes, accounting for about 11% of the available time of the House, was lost due to interruptions. However, making up for lost time, the members sat for 10 hours 52 minutes beyond scheduled hours, resulting in productivity of close to 100% during this session.
I'm very pleased to note that this House of Elders have demonstrated its resolve to send out a positive message by turning out 100% productivity during the last and this session. I tend to strongly believe that this new normal will stay for all the times to come. Whenever there is loss of time, we made up for the loss by sitting extra. That's why this percentage came. The debates on the state of economy, the Pegasus spyware issue, the surrogatory bill and the citizenship amendment bill, etc. have brought out the best from all sides in this August House. Spirited arguments and counter-arguments were made from both the sides. While the opposition flagged their concern, the Treasury benches sought to address them in equal spirit. This heightened quality of debates deservedly got the media space, providing a point that it is not disruptions alone fetch space, but meaningful debates get even more. I compliment all of you for the same.
15 bills were passed in the session, including some landmark bills, like the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Bill, that is the first of its kind for transgender persons. Other major bills included the Citizenship Amendment Bill, the Constitution 126th Amendment Bill, extending reservation for SCs and STs in the legislatures by another 10 years, the bill banning e-cigarettes, the International Financial Services Centre Bill. After a long time, the upper house discussed and returned the appropriation bill.
The major highlights of session is passing of Citizenship Amendment Bill, SC/ST reservation continuation, the Arms Amendment Bill, Chit Fund Amendment Bill, National Capital Territory of Delhi, recognition of property rights and of residents in unauthorized colony Bill 2019, the Transgender Persons Protection Rights Bill 2019, the Recycling of the Ship Bill 2019. These are the important bills.
39% of the total time was spent on legislative business, 25.4% on raising and discussing matters of urgent public importance under short duration discussion, 2 calling attention notices, 0 hour and special mentions, 13% on question hour meant for ensuring accountability of the executive, and 5% on private members' bills. During this session, a total of 199 0R and 115 special mentions were made at the rate of a record over 14 and 7 respectively per day. This is a substantial improvement over 9 0R and 5.50 special mentions made per day during the last session.
I would like to sum up the course of this historic session as one marked by seriousness and brevity. The seriousness is born out of definite sense of purpose of enhancing the dignity of this august institution. Brevity has manifested itself in adhering to the time limits, resulting in more number of starred questions orally answered and 0 hour and special mentions made, besides more number of members intervening in debates during this session. I am particularly happy over all of you collectively demonstrating that parliamentary democracy is more about contestation of ideas and ideologies than confrontation, which carries a tinge of conflict in its womb. The quality of debates on several occasions bear this out. Effectiveness of parliamentary democracy is critically dependent on efficient functioning of legislature.
171 starred questions, accounting for 67% of the total 255 questions scheduled to be taken up, were orally answered in the session. This came to 9.5 questions orally answered per day, which is the best performance in the last 49 years since 1971, for which data is available. The previous best has been 8.71 starred questions orally answered per day during the 198th session in 2003. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
As the historic 250th session of the Upper House came to a close, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu complimented the members for a very productive session. The chairman summed up the course of the historic session as one marked by seriousness and brevity. He also expressed happiness as the House collectively demonstrated that parliamentary democracy is more about contestation of ideas and ideologies than confrontation.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu on Friday complimented members of the Upper House for sustaining the positive momentum of the last session during the winter session of Parliament. The chairman said spirited arguments and counter-arguments were made from both the sides, and while the opposition flagged their concerns, the Treasury benches sought to address them in equal spirit.
While the last session recorded productivity of 104% by availing more than the available time for transacting the business, this session too clocked almost around 100% productivity. This is perhaps for the first time that this House recorded 100% productivity for 2 successive sessions.
The chairman also held a first-of-its-kind meeting with the chairmen of parliamentary committees. He has written to leaders of all the parties and groups in this House, seeking to ensure quantitative and qualitative participation in the meetings of these committees.
Concern about functioning of department-related standing committees and other committees of the House has emerged. I held a meeting with the chairman of all these 20 committees on the 5th of this month to share my concern. I was told by some chairman that it was first of its kind. Subsequently, I have written to the leaders of all parties and groups in this House, seeking to ensure quantitative and qualitative participation in the meetings of these committees, given the criticality of the role in the functioning of our parliamentary democracy.
Chairman Naidu also thanked all sides for their cooperation in making it a productive session. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Including some landmark bills like the
And the Lok Sabha also witnessed a highly productive winter session. The lower house recorded a productivity of close to 116%. During the session, 18 bills were introduced in the Lok Sabha, out of which 14 bills were passed. Overall, 15 bills were passed by both houses of Parliament. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said that a total of 20 sittings were held, clocking 130 hours and 43 minutes. Oral answers were given for 140 start questions, and all 20 start questions listed for the day were taken up on 27th of November.
एक 130 घंटे 14 मिनट यह सत्र चला। कुल 20 बेड के सत्र की हुई और इस सत्र में भी 28 घंटे 45 मिनट समय से देर रात्रि तक माननीय सदस्यों ने अपनी उपस्थिति से इस सदन को चलाया और ये कह सकते हैं कि इसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी भी 115% रही।
26 days and 20 sittings. Total 18 bills have been introduced in the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha passed 14 bills. Rajya Sabha has passed 15 bills. The total number bills passed by both the houses of Parliament is 15. Once again, within a comparatively it is a short session. Comparing to the sittings, this is the one of the, after the last session, this is the one of the best session as far as productivity is concerned.
And today, the 18th anniversary of the 2001 terrorist attack on Parliament, and Chairman of Rajya Sabha M. Venkaiah Naidu observed a minute of silence to mark the 18th anniversary of the terror attack on Parliament in the Rajya Sabha.
By their selfless act, these martyrs set an example of indomitable courage and outstanding devotion to duty. I am sure the whole House will join me in paying homage to these martyrs and expressing our profound gratitude to our brave security personnel who are vigilant and dutiful in protecting this temple of democracy. On this occasion, we also express our firm resolve to fight terrorism with determination.
An obituary reference for the terror attack on Parliament was also made in Lok Sabha. A minute of silence was observed to pay tribute to the martyrs.
हम ये सभा हमारे बहादुर सुरक्षा कर्मियों द्वारा दिए गए सर्वोच्च बलिदान के प्रति श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करती है तथा उनके परिवारों के साथ मजबूती से खड़ी है। इस अवसर पर हम आतंकवाद से लड़ने तथा अपने देश की एकता, अखंडता और संप्रभुता की रक्षा करने संबंधी अपने संकल्प को एक बार पुनः दोहराते हैं।
And leaders cutting across party lines also paid tribute to the martyrs of the 2001 Parliament attack. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Leader of Opposition in the Upper House Ghulam Nabi Azad, and Congress President Sonia Gandhi paid floral tributes at the Parliament complex to those who lost their lives in the attack.
13 दिसंबर के दिन जिन सुरक्षा कर्मियों ने संसद की सांसदों की सुरक्षा में अपने आप को कुर्बान कर दिया, मैं उनके चरणों में नमन करता हूं। उनके साहसिक कदम के कारण ही संसद की और सांसदों की सुरक्षा हो पाई। मैं फिर से उन सब के चरणों में नमन करता हूं।
सुरक्षा कर्मी जिन्होंने पार्लियामेंट की सारी संपदा को, पार्लियामेंट मेंबर्स को, बड़े पदाधिकारियों को बचाने के लिए अपनी बलिदान कर दिया था, वो सबको आज पार्लियामेंट में हम सब लोगों ने याद किया है। और मैं ईश्वर से कामना करता हूँ कि ऐसे सभी शहीद ये हम सब के लिए प्रेरणा हैं।
ये हमको याद दिलाता है कि कितना बड़ा हमला भारत की संसद पर हुआ था, प्रजातंत्र पर, और उन लोगों ने जिन्होंने अपनी शहादत दी रक्षा करने के लिए, आज उनको श्रद्धांजलि सबने दी।
ये शहादत सामान्य शहादत नहीं है। उन्होंने अपनी जान पर खेलकर भारत की संसद की और संप्रभुता का जो एक प्रतिबिंब है उसकी रक्षा की। देश में राजनीतिक अराजकता फैलाने और देश की संप्रभुता पर सवाल खड़ा करने का ये बड़ा संगठित सुनियोजित षड्यंत्र था, उसको नाकामयाब किया। ऐसे शहीदों को देश तब तक याद करेगा जब तक सूरज चांद रहेगा।
Especially people who lay down their lives for the nation, and these are very painful moments when we pay tribute, and we also feel that have we done enough for these kind of incidents not to happen. So it's a touching moment.
We cannot forget this day. At the same time, we can never forget the sacrifice of those security guards who laid down their life to save the democracy of India and as well as the political leaders in the country.
देखिए, ये दुनिया के सबसे बड़े लोकतंत्र के मंदिर पर हमला हुआ था 13 दिसंबर को, आज ही के दिन। उन हमलावरों को हमारे वीर जवानों ने, जाबाज जवानों ने मौत के घाट उतार दिया और ये संदेश दिया कि भारत माता की रक्षा के लिए, लोकतंत्र की रक्षा के लिए, संसद की रक्षा के लिए अपना सर्वोच्च बलिदान देने के लिए हमारे देश के जवान तैयार हैं।
मैं उन सब सुरक्षा कर्मियों को जो संसद भवन के हैं और पुलिस को आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, उनको श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं अपनी, कि उनके कारण बहुत सी जानें बच गई।
And Rajya Sabha Secretariat also paid tributes to the 2001 attack martyrs at the Parliament complex.
आज हमने अपने सदन में, राज्यसभा में भी उनके प्रति अपनी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की, लोकसभा में भी उनको श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की गई। और इसी अवसर पर शाम को 5 बजे, क्योंकि इसमें हमारे विशेष करके राज्यसभा के जो हमारे कर्मी थे, सुरक्षाकर्मी, उनकी शहादत हुई थी, तो उनको याद करने के लिए और उनकी आत्मा की शांति के लिए और साथ ही साथ उनके प्रति अपनी सॉलिडरिटी एक्सप्रेस करने के लिए हम ये कार्यक्रम हर साल आयोजित करते आ रहे हैं और इसी क्रम में आज ये कार्यक्रम आयोजित किया।
On to some other news now. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman listed the steps undertaken by the government for pushing economic growth on Friday. Addressing a press conference on Friday, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that the government has taken several steps to boost economy and is focused on clearing all past dues. The Finance Minister assured that the government will intervene on economic issues when required. On the possibilities of the GST rate hike, Finance Minister said that there has been no conversation on that yet. She added that the government is committed to paying the states the compensation for the loss of revenue from the GST implementation.
अर्थव्यवस्था कहाँ है वगैरह में एंगेज नहीं कर रही हूँ, मैं सीधा काम कर रही हूँ जहाँ हमारे आवश्यकता है वहाँ कुछ करने के लिए. I am looking at the economy where I need to intervene. I am intervening and I shall continue to do, addressing the problem of the industry as and when it rises.
She also said that onion prices will soon be under control. She added that the government is doing its best to import the commodity and resolve the issue.
कई जगह पर प्याज के दाम कम भी होने लगे हैं. कम जितना कम होना है उतना नहीं, मगर जहाँ तक पहुँचा उधर से कम हो रहा है. We've had a group of ministers meeting which is reviewing on almost every 1 or 2 days gap basis and deciding on how to further take up the import related issues. जैसे आप कह रहे हैं सही that yes import हो रही है By the time I also think gradually, the crop has started coming in.
And Chief Economic Advisor Krishnamurthy Subramaniam said that 66% of the 3.38 lakh crore rupees budgeted expenditure has already been spent by the government. He also said that India received a record foreign direct investment of $35 billion in the first half of the current financial year compared to $31 billion in the first half of 2018-19.
The credit expansion via the public sector banks, budget announced 70,000 crores of equity, 60,000 crores to be precise, 60,314 crores has been infused already and 4.9 lakh crores has been disbursed. Of that, 2.2 lakh crores to corporates, about 73,000 crores to MSMEs and 39,453 crores to retail borrowers.
And Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has been named among the world's 100 most powerful women by Forbes for the year 2019. Forbes has ranked Nirmala Sitharaman, the first woman to serve as full-time finance minister of the country, as 34th most powerful woman in the world. Now, two more Indian women, HCL Corporation CEO and Executive Director Ronnie Nadar Malhotra and Biocon founder Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw also feature in the Forbes 2019 list of the world's 100 most powerful women. Nadar Malhotra and Mazumdar-Shaw have been ranked 54 and 66th respectively. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has topped the list, followed by President of the European Central Bank Christine Lagarde, while the Speaker of the US House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi has been ranked third. On to some other news now. India and Maldives have signed 3 key agreements to boost bilateral ties. The pacts were signed at the 6th Joint Commission meeting of both countries in New Delhi, chaired by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and his Maldivian counterpart Abdullah Shahid. An MOU was signed for cooperation between the election commissions of the two countries as well, while the other was exchanged for the cooperation between their financial intelligence units. In addition, an instrument of ratification was also exchanged for the Treaty on Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters. Meanwhile, Mohammad Nasheed, the Speaker of the Maldivian Parliament, that is the People's Majlis of the Maldives, called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi today. Maldivian Speaker is in India on the invitation of Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu. Top international focus now. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has secured an emphatic victory in the UK election held on Thursday, with his Conservative Party winning the majority of seats in Parliament and a mandate to fulfill its campaign pledge of getting Brexit done. With the results from all the 650 parliamentary seats declared, the Conservatives won 365, their biggest election win since Margaret Thatcher's 1987 triumph. Meanwhile, opposition Labour Party of Jeremy Corbyn captured just 203 seats. Now, the results mean that the paralysis in British politics over Brexit is set to come to an end, with Johnson almost certainly going to be able to deliver on his pledge to take Britain out of the European Union by 31st of January or sooner and enter the next stage of Brexit negotiations.
It off, didn't we? We pulled it off. We broke the deadlock, we ended the gridlock, we smashed the roadblock, and in this glorious, glorious pre-breakfast moment before a new dawn rises on a new day and a new government, I want first of all to pay tribute to good colleagues who lost their seats through no fault of their own in the elections just gone by. And I, of course, want to congratulate absolutely everybody involved in securing the biggest Conservative majority since the 1980s.
All right, let's get a perspective on the election win of Boris Johnson. We have with us former diplomat S.R. Thayil joining us. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on Rajya Sabha TV. Sir, Now, it's obviously very good news for Britain with Boris Johnson getting this resounding election victory, meaning that now he has the mandate to end the 3 years of political paralysis and take Britain out of the European Union by 31st of January. So how do you look at the UK election results?
That is exactly right. For the last 3.5 years, because of this Brexit issue, the UK government, society, they were both divided and paralyzed. And after this very decisive victory of Prime Minister Boris Johnson, he has made it clear that by 31st January 2020, UK will be out of EU. Now, still the terms have to be fully decided and negotiated with European Union. But I think it is now inevitable because there was a lot of expectation in the world outside the UK that perhaps UK will continue to be in EU, but that is not going to happen.
Ambassador, but of course it is good news for Britain with this resounding victory of Boris Johnson. But of course there are many challenges ahead for him as well, because he has this complex task of negotiating UK's future relationship with the bloc and also then preserving London's position as a global top financial capital.
That is exactly right. The aftermath of Brexit has not been properly thought through, and all sane voices and economists and global experts are very nervous that how will UK deal with it. The rest of the world will perhaps deal with it. European Union will exist and thrive without UK, but in UK there will be more turmoil. And there have been the vote which Mr. Boris Johnson, that means the Conservative Party, has got is 45%. And it was on Brexit. So 55% of the UK voters still perhaps do not want Brexit. And that he will have to take into account because it is first past the post system. So Conservative Party has got 365 MPs, but they have got only 45% of the vote. And there is a lot of expectation that immigration of European Union people will be reduced, and somehow the regulatory grip which the European Eurocrats, as they are called, had on the British economy, that will be relaxed. But England will have to renegotiate its trade and the terms of trade with not only the countries of the European Union, but many other countries, including India, because much of the trade is being conducted under rules which were negotiated by European Union. And UK and England, they were part of European Union. So a whole range of new deals will have to be negotiated, not only in trade, but on health issues, on security issues, on civil aviation issues. So it is a long road ahead. It will be a bumpy road. And I think most of the people think that an emotional decision has been taken by the people of Britain, who are very nervous about loss of jobs and general gloom in the economy. But the future may not be as bright as they hope it would be after leaving European Union.
Absolutely. And Ambassador, there is another big challenge we look for Boris Johnson, and that is keeping the United Kingdom together. Because if we look at these election results, we see that Scotland actually has voted for a party that wants independence referendum. Even Irish nationalists have performed very strongly in Northern Ireland. So that is also going to be a huge challenge ahead for Boris Johnson, isn't it?
It will be a very major challenge, the Northern Ireland issue and how they do not want to leave European Union. Then Ireland will still be in European Union. So how the border issues will be settled, how the trade will happen between Northern Ireland and Ireland, that is one major issue. And Scotland, a few years back, there was a referendum whether Scotland should become an independent country, and very marginally that Scottish National Party had lost. But this election...
Indeed.
For another referendum.
Absolutely.
So that will put a lot of pressure on United Kingdom as a United Kingdom of England, Scotland and Northern Ireland and Wales.
Absolutely. So there is actually A huge challenge ahead, even as Boris Johnson has got a resounding mandate, and Britain will soon know what Boris Johnson's pledge to get the Brexit done actually means. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for joining us here on Rajya Sabha TV and sharing your perspective on that big international news. And with that, we wrap up this edition of News Tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.